Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be carrying on with Alliance War season. This time it's Alliance War number 2 in season 23 I believe. As pretty much always I'm going to be doing path 1 in both sections. It's actually kind of funny, I was meant to do path 2 but I have been doing path 1 so much that I kind of went there by default. Luckily it didn't cause too much of a trouble. And we're all done and covered. So this Alliance War was against 2 Loki. It's kind of actually quite funny at this point because the first war was 4 Loki. And it's interesting to see whether we'll match 3 Loki next. Is there a 3 Loki? I'm not entirely sure. But as I said before, I am on path 1 in both of the sections. And this first fight is against Immortal Hulk. So I did apply small boosts, nothing too major. Immortal Hulk on this Arc Overload, I think Vigorous Assault, it's called, node. It's nothing really too tricky. I still brought in Quake just because kind of why not. We are up against Stubborn and I kind of forgot that it's Stubborn, so I started to trying and Dex fully at times because the previous war we were up against Protect Global. And I don't know, something in my brain said that it was Protect, but either way, Quake will do absolutely phenomenal job. As you guys might have noticed, if you start the fight charging the heavy attack with Quake, you actually shut down the Arc Overload from get-go, and you don't have to deal with opponent being unblockable at all using Quake, and that's quite awesome. As we can see at this point, the timer has gone completely away as well, and basically it's just a pure arena fight. There's nothing to worry about because both of the nodes have been completely switched off and you only have Stubborn to deal with. And obviously as a 6-star champion, this guy's quite hefty. And I want to take the opportunity to say that I kind of want to rank up Immortal Hulk. I know he's not a great champion, but he's quite fun to use. And yeah, I don't know. There's something I like about him. He's definitely not really kind of like an amazing, super useful champion, but we all sometimes need to remember that this is a game, and for pure fun and enjoyment aspect, I might end up taking this guy up in near future rank 2 or 3. He definitely needs some help though. He definitely isn't quote-unquote effective champion in vast majority of the cases, but I don't know, he looks kind of cool. And he's quite fun. Okay, anyway, so now that Immortal Hulk has gone down, we're going to be going up against Mephisto. I was actually hoping that I will get that joint fight at end of section 1 as well, but somebody took it whilst I was waiting for an extra energy, and so, well, that just means one less Quake fight, I suppose. So against this Mephisto, he has Masochism node active as well. I'm going to be bringing in Human Torch, pre-fight active, and as we all know, that is one of the most fun matchups in this entire game, because whenever he activates his aura, your smolders go insane, and so does your damage, and you can see that this fight is pretty much over at this point. He's at like 19% and melting, and it didn't even take 30 seconds. Yeah, that's about as simple as it is in this matchup. There's not much else to say. And that was it for my participation in section 1. Right, and now the next fights already are going to be in the following morning. I'm going to be taking a bunch of fights in one go, so I'm going to apply a medium set of boosts. I'm not going to go for any of the big ones. I figured relatively medium ones should do quite all right. I'll probably end up trading some extra boosts before gifting expires, because you can stock up on your medium boosts, and I did trade in plenty of attack boosts but not quite enough health boosts, and maybe a couple of green ones as well, even though those are fairly common. And right, so now I'm going to be doing 4 fights in a row. I'm going to do the first this EMP modification, Burden of Might, I believe. Yes, Burden of Might. And I'm just going to go in with Quake. It's a Magneto, but Quake, again, just pretty much ignores the entire thing. You don't worry about EMP modification because opponents never really can throw special attack. And yeah, that's about it. And you're never gonna gain a buff, and I don't care about my power level to begin with. There, I did make a small whoopsie. I did let go of my heavy attack, even though I didn't. I don't know what happened, but I must have let go of the screen for a split second. Luckily, I didn't get punished for it, and it all kind of worked out. And we can see that Magneto is being quite passive, which is perfect for Quake. You love when opponents are being passive, because that means you can stack up more of the aftershocks. It means concussions last longer and all that good stuff. You just deal more damage and the fight's easier to handle. Now he's throwing some combos, but obviously Quake does whatever Quake does, and Magneto is pretty much already down a minute in. And yeah, not too much to worry about in this fight at all. We're going to be moving on to the next ones. And this is also the set where I was meant to go to path 2, but I misread the instructions. And also, to be 100% honest, that Mr. Sinister fight looked like a great amount of fun. Okay, I'm not saying I went there on purpose. I'm saying that just the prospect of having Human Torch Mr. Sinister fight might have got my excitement up, because again, it is one of the cooler fights in Abyss of Legends, just like Mephisto, where you get to build up your smolders all the time whenever he throws his level 1, so you end up doing a ton of damage. And that is exactly what I'm going to be trying to go for in this fight here as well. So the base idea is just to get my temperature up initially, and then have him drop some of the level 1s. We can see that the first level 1 gave me 5 smolders immediately, and at 5 smolders, Human Torch is already kind of like very formidable damage dealing option. And obviously here we go, 14 smolders, absolutely wonderful. And the more smolders, the more damage. Even though he keeps reflecting them, they don't last their full duration, but we can see that they are definitely putting in a solid amount of work. I'm just gonna go for another heavy attack there. He's gonna put me to 24 smolders, very quick, very simple. And at that point I had no flames active already, and yeah, that Mr. Sinister goes down super quickly. Absolutely love that matchup, one of my favorite ones. Also, Sunspot is incredibly fun against Mr. Sinister. Just letting you guys know, in case you guys haven't tried it, if you can find a big Mr. Sinister, check out your Sunspot. Next up is Man-Thing, and for this one, I'm just gonna Quake the guy. Again, if I don't have any buffs active on me, absolutely nothing to worry. And that's it. That's gonna be the strategy here. I'm just gonna heavy parry, not gonna trigger dexterity once. That will also stop me from triggering buffet node, will prevent him from healing, and on top of that, it keeps me buff free, so he doesn't have a chance to convert that dexterity buff, that precision, into a postural and eventually inflict armor break and poison upon me. So it's by far the safest way how to fight against Man-Thing, is just to make sure you don't have a buff to begin with. Because even though ideally, obviously, you want to fully heavy dex with Quake, having that precision buff still gives you a slight amount of risk in case you do parry it, in case it does get converted. You can get poisoned, you can get armor broken, and you don't really want to do that. And especially if Man-Thing has access to Mystic Dispersion, it can just lead through a rabbit hole of problems, basically, because then he gains power by nullifying that precision. Then if he pops the postural, he gets power again, and he can get level 1 that way. And yeah, it's just better not to. Stay buff free and stay worry free as well. And next up, we can see that this Symbiote Supreme has both of his links active, but neither of those links really do anything. It's kind of like the power sting and enhanced armor up. And I'm not going to be using any of my special attacks in this fight, so I don't care about the power sting one. And armor up, well, he doesn't have armor up buffs to enhance, so even if he did, though, it wouldn't make much of a difference. And obviously, Symbiote Supreme being a Mystic champion, Human Torch is gonna have a fantastic time. Now there I triggered my dexterity on purpose just to trigger buffet node, and we saw that his health immediately got decimated. And at this point I already have like 6 smolders, he has 6 incinerates. I could have triggered buffet again, but no need, he dead. And that leaves us with the final fight. The final fight for me in this war is against Guillotine 2099. And it's just going to be a typical Quake affair. Now, Guillotine 2099 is a tricky defender, and on Vigorous Assault and Enhanced Regeneration, if you don't stop that regen, it can be an annoying fight. But obviously, if you're using Quake, you don't really care for any of that stuff, because she's not going to be regening because you shut down her abilities, and you don't care if she can go invisible because you're not hitting her. So yeah, very simple, very straightforward fight. I was very confident. I do have a bunch of these 10% boost expiring because I popped open too many Supreme solo crystals. So I just popped on a 10% boost at this point. It's also worth mentioning that this war was well in control. We were leading quite significantly to a point where nothing I could do would have any meaningful impact on this war. But obviously we are still trying to go for first spot in this season because we did win the last one. So we want to avoid any deaths because all of those season scores do add up, and if we end up on the same win and loss count as whoever's right next to us, then every death will matter. But as I said before already, this war was well in control, so we are actually still in it as I'm recording it. The war hasn't officially finished. It still has about an hour, but it's extremely safe to say at this point that we have won it. Now, 2Loki also is an alliance to some of my subscribers, so definitely a huge shout out to all of them, including Captain Bayi. He also has a very cool YouTube channel if you guys want to go check it out. It's just Captain Bayi. But that is it for today, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about